Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. You
Yeah.
know how much we love to explore those thought-provoking topics that really get you thinking.
Absolutely.
And today we're diving into something that, well, it's a pretty big one,
Yeah.
cancer.
Oh, yeah.
But we're not just talking about the basics here.
Right.
We're going deeper. You're looking at the connection between cancer and something you might not expect.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Mitochondria.
Ah, those tiny powerhouses inside our cells.
Exactly.
I like where this is going.
We're going to be unpacking some bold claims from a cancer researcher named Professor Thomas Seyfried.
Okay, I've heard of him.
Have you?
Yeah, he's got some really interesting ideas about cancer not being primarily about faulty genes.
You're catching on quick. That's exactly what he says.
Thanks, sure.
He sees it as a metabolic disease.
Okay, so a breakdown in how our cells create energy.
Bingo. And that breakdown, he says, all starts with our mitochondria.
This is fascinating. I know, right? And we're using a YouTube interview with Professor Seyfried as our main source today.
Oh, cool.
And let me tell you, he doesn't sugarcoat anything.
Oh.
He paints a pretty stark picture of the current cancer landscape.
Yeah, cancer's a big problem.
It is.
Huge.
It is.
Millions of people.
Almost 2 million new diagnoses each year in the U.S. alone,
Wow.
and 1,700 deaths every single day.
That's heavy.
It's a lot.
It really puts things in perspective.
It does. And what's even more concerning is that despite all the advancements we've made in treatment,
Right, we've come a long way.
we have,
Oh,
survival rates for many common cancers haven't actually improved that much.
really?
Yeah, I think lung, pancreatic, breast, colon.
That's worrying.
It is. And it makes you wonder if we're even fighting the right battle.
Yeah, are we on the wrong track?
That's exactly what Seyfried argues. He suggests that all the aggressive treatments we rely on, like chemo and radiation,
Yeah, those are pretty intense.
they are, and they might be missing the root of the problem.
So how do mitochondria fit into all of this?
It all goes back to the work of a brilliant scientist named Dr. Otto Warburg.
Otto Warburg, now that name rings a bell.
Back in the 1920s, he made a groundbreaking discovery.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Cancer cells have a really peculiar way of generating energy.
Okay, that's interesting.
You know how our cells normally use oxygen to efficiently burn glucose for fuel?
Right, that's how we get our energy.
Well, cancer cells, they ditch that method.
They do.
Yeah, and they revert to a much less efficient process called fermentation.
Fermentation, like what yeast does to make bread.
Exactly. It's like they're running on fumes while our healthy cells are cruising along on a full tank.
Wow. So they're not exactly the picture of cellular health.
Not at all. And according to Seyfried, this metabolic shift, it's more than just a side effect of cancer.
Okay, so it's a driving force.
He believes it is, and get this, he even ties it back to our evolutionary history.
Oh, wow. Evolution. Now, this is getting really interesting.
I know, right? So take us back in time. How does evolution play into this whole cancer puzzle?
So Seyfried believes that our ancestors, with their low-carb diets and active lifestyles.
You're running around hunting and gathering.
Exactly. They primarily ran on ketones.
Okay, a fuel source derived from fat.
Right. And their bodies were in a state called nutritional ketosis.
And Seyfried suggests cancer was rare back then.
Huh. So no processed foods, no sugary drinks, just whole natural foods and constant movement.
It's a pretty stark contrast to our modern world.
Yeah, no donut shops in the Paleolithic era.
Exactly. But if our bodies are really designed for this Paleolithic zone, as Seyfried calls it, what happened?
That is the million-dollar question.
Why are we so susceptible to cancer now?
Well, Seyfried points to the mismatch between our modern lifestyle and our evolutionary past.
Right, we're surrounded by processed foods, stress, environmental toxins.
And we're way less active than our ancestors.
Basically, we've created the perfect storm for cancer to thrive.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's a pretty good way to put it.
So this is where Seyfried's approach to cancer comes in.
Okay, and what does he call it?
He calls it metabolic therapy.
Metabolic therapy.
And it's all about shifting our internal environment to make it less hospitable to cancer cells.
Okay, so less comfy for the bad guys.
Exactly.
I like it. So is it as simple as ditching the donuts?
Well, cutting back on processed carbs is definitely a good start.
Makes sense.
But Seyfried's approach goes beyond just diet.
Okay, so it's a whole lifestyle overhaul.
It's about restricting those fuels that cancer cells crave.
Okay, so what are those?
Glucose and glutamine,
Got it.
and promoting the production of ketones.
Right, those good old ketones.
And this involves things like calorie restriction, intermittent fasting, and of course adopting a ketogenic diet.
Oh, yeah, the keto diet. That's been getting a lot of buzz lately.
It has, and Seyfried is a big proponent of it. He's got some pretty compelling anecdotes to back up his claims.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, have you heard about the dog who recovered from a mast cell tumor?
A dog on a keto diet? I'm listening.
This dog was facing a pretty grim prognosis,
Oh, no.
but the owners decided to give the ketogenic diet a try.
Wow, what happened?
And get this, the tumor completely disappeared.
No way.
Yeah. And the dog lived another 8 healthy years, which is pretty remarkable for a cancer that's usually very difficult to treat.
That's amazing. So there's hope for us humans, too.
That's what we're going to explore next.
I can't wait.
Dog stories are great.
They are heartwarming.
But what about us humans?
Right. Good point.
Has this approach shown promise in people facing cancer?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
There's this incredible story of Pablo Kelly.
Pablo Kelly.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of him.
He was diagnosed with glioblastoma.
Oh, wow. That's one of the most aggressive brain cancers, right?
It is one of the worst.
And what happened?
Well, doctors gave him less than a year to live.
Oh, wow.
But Pablo, he decided to forego conventional treatment
Really?
and embrace metabolic therapy.
So he completely overhauled his diet and lifestyle.
He did. It was a complete 180. He lived for 10 years.
10 years. When they only gave him one.
I know. It's amazing.
That's a powerful testament to the potential of this approach.
It really is. And while Pablo did sadly pass away recently,
Oh, no.
it wasn't from the cancer itself.
Oh, okay.
He experienced complications from a surgery.
I see.
But his case, along with others, highlight how metabolic therapy can really extend life even with a dire diagnosis.
It gives you hope.
It does.
So it's not just about the ketogenic diet.
No, it's not just about the diet. There are other pieces to this puzzle.
Okay, so like what else is involved?
Think of it like building a fortress
A fortress.
of metabolic health.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Along with the ketogenic diet, Seyfried is a big advocate for calorie restriction,
Well.
intermittent fasting,
Okay,
regular exercise, and stress reduction techniques.
so a holistic approach.
Exactly. All of these work together to optimize how our mitochondria function
I see.
and
Oh,
shift our bodies away from relying on glucose as the primary fuel source.
it sounds like he's really considering that mind-body connection
He
too.
is. He even talks about the importance of finding joy in life.
Okay, so it's not about deprivation,
No, not at all.
but about making choices that support our well-being.
Exactly. It's about understanding how our lifestyle impacts our metabolic health and making adjustments that align with what our bodies are designed for.
He even has a tool to measure your metabolic health rate,
He does. It's called the glucose ketone index.
the GKI.
Yep, you got it.
It sounds pretty high-tech.
It's actually pretty simple. It's just a ratio that measures your blood glucose level against your ketone level.
Oh, okay, so you can track it with like fitness apps and stuff.
Exactly.
So what's a good score? What should we be aiming for?
Lower is better.
Okay,
A lower GKI means you're in a state of nutritional ketosis.
right, that Paleolithic zone we talked about.
Exactly. Seyfried views it as a key indicator of metabolic health and potentially resilience against cancer.
It's like a metabolic report card.
I like that. And the best part is we can actually influence our GKI through our lifestyle choices.
So we have some control.
We do. We have the power to make a difference.
That's what I find so compelling about this approach.
Me too.
It puts the power back in our hands.
Exactly.
But Seyfried is very clear that this isn't the easy path.
No, it's not a quick fix.
He's faced a lot of pushback from the medical establishment.
Oh yeah, he's definitely ruffled some feathers.
They're challenging the conventional way of thinking about cancer,
Yeah, he's talking about a major paradigm shift.
and that doesn't always go over well.
Not at all. He's even been accused of promoting quackery.
Wow, that's harsh.
Yeah.
But he seems undeterred. What keeps him going?
I think it's his belief in the evidence. He's published his research in peer-reviewed journals,
Okay.
presented at conferences, and he actively engages in discussions with other scientists.
So he's not afraid of debate.
Not at all. He truly believes that metabolic therapy can revolutionize cancer prevention and treatment.
It sounds like he's really walking the walk.
He is. He's not just talking the talk.
And it's not just about challenging the status quo. He brings up some uncomfortable truths about the current system,
Yeah, he doesn't hold back.
like how it prioritizes expensive treatments that target symptoms rather than addressing the root cause.
Right, and he's very critical of some of those treatments, particularly the aggressive use of radiation and chemotherapy.
Why is that?
He cites examples like the drug Avastin,
Okay.
which he claims can actually worsen brain cancer in some cases, even if it initially shrinks the tumor.
That's scary.
It is. He believes that some conventional treatments can do more harm than good,
Wow.
and that we need to be more critical of the way we approach cancer.
It's a sobering reminder that we need to be informed
Absolutely.
and advocate for ourselves when it comes to our health.
You are your own best advocate.
So what are some resources for people who want to learn more?
Well, Seyfried has a book called Cancer as a Metabolic Disease on the origin, management, and prevention of cancer.
Okay.
It really delves into the science behind his approach.
And are there other resources?
Definitely. He encourages people to learn about Dr. Otto Warburg's work.
The pioneer of cancer metabolism research.
Exactly. And of course, there's a ton of information online.
Right, like his website and lectures.
Yep. And even online communities where people share their experiences with metabolic therapy.
But it's always important to be discerning with online information, right?
Oh, absolutely. Stick to credible sources and always consult with your doctor before making any major changes to your diet or treatment plan.
Always good advice. It sounds like Seyfried is not only presenting an alternative treatment approach, but also sparking a movement
Yes.
toward a greater awareness and empowerment when it comes to cancer.
It's about taking control of your health narrative.
And writing your own story.
Exactly.
Yeah, it really is. It makes you think, if cancer is primarily a metabolic disease,
Right.
shouldn't we be looking at the bigger picture?
Absolutely.
Like, what about our dietary guidelines?
Yeah, are they even set up to support metabolic health?
And are we investing enough in metabolic research?
Good questions. And Seyfried would argue that they're worth billions of dollars,
Billions.
especially considering how much we pour into conventional cancer research.
He believes a shift in focus is needed.
He does. He thinks it's urgent.
He even proposes that metabolic therapy could be used not just as a treatment, but as a preventative measure.
Preventative.
Imagine that taking control of our metabolic health from a young age
Wow.
to potentially reduce our risk of cancer down the line.
That would be incredible.
It would be a game changer. It's a bold vision,
It is.
and it speaks to Seyfried's optimism.
Yeah, he's not just doom and gloom.
He doesn't just highlight the problems. He offers a potential solution.
Right. A reason to be hopeful.
Imagine a world where we're taught how to keep our mitochondria healthy from a young age.
It would be a whole different ballgame.
And while Seyfried may not have all the answers, he's asking the right questions.
He is. He's a real pioneer.
And maybe that's all it takes to ignite a real revolution in how we approach cancer.
I think you're right. Sometimes all it takes is one person to shake things up,
And that's what we aim to do here on The Deep Dive,
to get people thinking differently.
to provide you with the information you need to think critically, to question assumptions, and make informed decisions about your health.
It's about empowerment.
Exactly. Seyfried's research offers a powerful example of how challenging conventional thinking can have a ripple effect.
Yeah, one person can make a difference.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of cancer metabolism, I want to leave you with this.
Okay, I'm listening.
If cancer is indeed a metabolic disease, what choices will you make today to support your metabolic health?
That's a powerful question.
It is. It's a question worth pondering.
And remember, knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
The more you understand about how your body works, the better equipped you are to make those choices.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's it for this episode of The Deep Dive.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for exploring with us, and here's to keeping those mitochondria happy and healthy.